The Law of One, Session 77, February 10, 1982.
77.0 RA. I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. We communicate now.
77.1 Questioner. Could you first please give me an indication of the condition of the instrument?
I am Ra. It is as previously stated.
77.2 Questioner. Was the instrument under attack just prior to this session?
I am Ra. This is correct.
77.3 Questioner. Is there anything that we could do to help protect the instrument from these attacks prior to the session?
I am Ra. This is correct.
77.4 Questioner. What could we do?
I am Ra. Your group could refrain from continuing this contact.
77.5 Questioner. Is that the only thing we could do?
I am Ra. That is the only thing you could do which you are not already attempting with a whole heart.
77.6 Questioner. I have 3 questions that the instrument asked me to ask that I'll get out of the way first. She wants to know if the preparation for her hospital experience could be improved for the next experience.
I am Ra. All was done well with one exception. The instrument was instructed to spend space/time contemplating itself as the Creator. This, done in a more determined fashion, would be beneficial at times when the mind complex is weakened by severe assaults upon the distortions of the body complex towards pain. There is no necessity for negative thought forms regardless of pain distortions. The elimination of such creates the lack of possibility for negative elementals and other negative entities to use these thought forms to create the worsening of the mind complex deviation from the normal distortions of cheerfulness/anxiety.
77.7 Questioner. The instrument would also like to know if the what we call tuning could be improved during times when we do not communicate with Ra. For that communication,
I am Ra. That which has been stated in regard to the latter question will suffice to point the way for the present query.
77.8 Questioner. Finally, she wishes to know why several days ago her heart rate went up to 115 per minute, and then she had extreme pain in her stomach. Was that an Orion greeting? It says,
I am Ra. Although this experience was energized by the Orion group, the events mentioned, as well as others more serious, were proximally caused by the ingestion of certain foodstuffs in what you call your tablet form.
77.9 Questioner. Can you tell me what these tablets were, specifically?
I am Ra. We examine this query for the law of confusion and find ourselves close to the boundary, but acceptably so. The substance which caused the bodily reaction of the heartbeat was called pituitone by those which manufacture it. That which caused the difficulty which seemed to be cramping of the lower abdominal musculature but was, in fact, more organic in nature was a substance called spleentone. This instrument has a physical body complex of complicated balances which afford it physical existence. Were the view taken that certain functions and chemicals found in the healthy, as you call it, body complex are lacking in this one and, therefore, simply must be replenished, the intake of the many substances which this instrument began would be appropriate. However, this particular physical vehicle has, for approximately 25 of your years, been vital due to the spirit, the mind, and the will being harmoniously dedicated to fulfilling the service it chose to offer. Therefore, physical healing techniques are inappropriate whereas mental and spiritual healing techniques are beneficial.
77.10 Questioner. Is there any technique which we could do that we have not been doing that would be beneficial for the instrument in this case?
I am Ra. We might suggest, without facetiousness, 2. Firstly, let the instrument remove the possibility of further ingestion of this group of foodstuffs. Secondly, each of the group may become aware of the will to a greater extent. We cannot instruct upon this but merely indicate, as we have previously, that it is a vital key to the evolution of the mind/body/spirit complex.
77.11 Questioner. Thank you. I would like to go back to the plan of this logos for its creation and examine the philosophical basis that is the foundation for what was created in this local creation and the philosophy of the plan for experience. I am assuming that I am correct in stating that the foundation for this, as we have stated many times before, is the first distortion. After that, what was the plan in a philosophical sense?
I am Ra. We cannot reply due to a needed portion of your query which has been omitted. That is, do we speak of this particular logos?
77.12 Questioner. That is correct. I am asking with respect to this particular logos, our sun, in creating the experience of its planetary system and those sublogoi of it.
I am Ra. This query has substance. We shall begin by turning to an observation of a series of concept complexes of which you are familiar as the tarot. The philosophy was to create a foundation, first of mind, then of body, and then of spiritual complex. Those concept complexes you call the tarot lie then in three groups of 7, the mind cycle, 1 through 7, the physical complex cycle, 8 through 14, the spiritual complex cycle, 15 through 21. The last concept complex may best be termed the choice. Upon the foundation of transformation of each complex, with free will guided by the root concepts offered in these cycles, the logos offered this density the basic architecture of a building and constructing and synthesizing of data culminating in the choice.
77.13 Questioner. Then for me to condense your statement, I see it meaning that there are 7 basic philosophical foundations for mental experience, 7 for bodily, 7 for spiritual, and that these produce the polarization that we experience sometime during the third density cycle. This may be very poorly stated on my part. Am I close to correct?
I am Ra. You are correct in that you perceive the content of our prior statement with accuracy. You are incorrect in that you have no mention of the, shall we say, location of all of these concept complexes. That is, they exist within the roots of the mind, and it is from this resource that their guiding influence and leitmotifs may be traced. You may further note that each foundation is itself not single but a complex of concepts. Furthermore, there are relationships betwixt mind, body, and spirit of the same location in octave, for instance, 1, 8, 15, and relationships within each octave which are helpful in the pursuit of the choice by the mind/body/spirit complex. The logos under which these foundations stand is one of free will. Thusly the foundations may be seen to have unique facets and relationships for each mind/body/spirit complex. Only 22, the choice, is relatively fixed and single.
77.14 Questioner. I am probably having a problem with the concept of time, since it appears that the logos was aware of the polarization choice. It seems that this choice for polarization at the end of third density is an important philosophical plan for the experience past third density. Am I correct in assuming that this process is a process to create the proper or the desired experience that will take place in the creation after third density is complete?
I am Ra. These philosophical foundations are those of third density. Above this density there remains the recognition of the architecture of the logos, but without the veils which are so integral a part of the process of making the choice in third density.
77.15 Questioner. The specific question that I had was that it seems to me that the choice was planned to create intense polarization past third density, so that experience would be intense past third density. Is this correct?
I am Ra. Given that our interpretation of your sound vibration complexes is appropriate, this is incorrect. The intensity of fourth density is that of the refining of the rough-hewn sculpture. This is, indeed, in its own way, quite intense, causing the mind/body/spirit complex to move ever inward and onward in its quest for fuller expression. However, in third density the statue is forged in the fire. This is a type of intensity which is not the property of fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh densities.
77.16 Questioner. What I'm really attempting to understand, since all of these 21 philosophical bases result in the 22nd, which is the choice, is why this choice is so important. Why the logos, it seems, puts so much emphasis on this choice. And what function that choice of polarity is, precisely, in the evolution or the experience of that which is created by the logos.
I am Ra. The polarization or choosing of each mind/body/spirit is necessary for harvestability from third density. The higher densities do their work due to the polarity gained in this choice.
77.17 Questioner. And now, would it be possible for this work of our density to be performed if all of the sublogoi chose the same polarity in any particular expression or evolution of a logos? Let us make the assumption that our sun created nothing but, through the first distortion, there was no product except positive polarity. Would work then be done in fourth density and higher as a function only of this positive polarization evolving from our original creation of sublogos?
I am Ra. Elements of this query illustrate the reason I was unable to answer your previous question without knowledge of the logos involved. To turn to your question, there were logoi which chose to set the plan for the activation of mind/body/spirit complexes through each true color body without recourse to the prior application of free will. It is, to our knowledge, only in an absence of free will that the conditions of which you speak obtain. In such a procession of densities you find an extraordinarily long, as you measure time, third density, likewise, fourth density. Then, as the entities begin to see the Creator, there is a very rapid, as you measure time, procession towards the eighth density. This is due to the fact that one who knows not, cares not. Let us illustrate by observing the relative harmony and unchanging quality of existence in one of your, as you call it, primitive tribes. The entities have the concepts of lawful and taboo, but the law is inexorable and all events occur as predestined. There is no concept of right and wrong, good or bad. It is a culture in monochrome. In this context you may see the one you call Lucifer as the true light bringer, in that the knowledge of good and evil both precipitated the mind/body/spirits of this logos from the Edenic conditions of constant contentment, but also provided the impetus to move, to work and to learn. Those logoi whose creations have been set up without free will have not, in the feeling of those logoi, given the Creator the quality and variety of experience of itself as have those logoi which have incorporated free will as paramount. Thusly you find those logoi moving through the timeless states at what you would see as a later space/time to choose the free will character when elucidating the foundations of each logos.
77.18 Questioner. I guess, under the first distortion, it was the free will of the logos to choose to evolve without free will. Is this correct?
I am Ra. This is correct.
77.19 Questioner. Do the logoi that choose this type of evolution choose both the service to self and the service to others, path for different logoi? Or do they choose just one of the paths?
I am Ra. Those, what you would call, early logoi which chose lack of free will foundations, to all extents with no exceptions, founded logoi of the service to others path. The, shall we say, saga of polarity, its consequences and limits, were unimagined until experienced.
77.20 Questioner. In other words, you are saying that originally the logoi that did not choose this free will path did not choose it simply because they had not conceived of it, and later logoi, extending the first distortion farther down through their evolution, experienced it as an outcropping or growth from that extension of the first distortion. Am I correct in saying that?
I am Ra. Yes.
77.21 Questioner. Then did this particular logos that we experience plan for this polarity, and know all about it prior to its plan? That I suspect is what happened.
I am Ra. This is quite correct.
77.22 Questioner. In that case, you would have as a logos, you would have the advantage of selecting the form of acceleration, I might say, of spiritual evolution by planning for what we call the major archetypical philosophical foundation, and planning these as a function of the polarity that would be gained in third density. Is this correct?
I am Ra. This is exquisitely correct.
77.23 Questioner. In that case, it seems that a thorough knowledge of the precise nature of these philosophical foundations would be of primary importance to the study of evolution of mind, body, and spirit. And I would like to carefully go through each of the basic 21, starting with the mind, if this is agreeable with Ra.
I am Ra. This is agreeable with two requests which must be made. Firstly, that an attempt be made to state the student's grasp of each archetype. We may then comment. We cannot teach/learn to the extent of learn/teaching. Secondly, we request that it be constantly kept before the mind, as the candle before the eye, that each mind/body/spirit complex shall, and should, and indeed must perceive each archetype, if you use this convenient term, in its own way. Therefore, you may see that precision is not the goal, rather quality of general concept complex perception is the goal.
77.24 Questioner. And now, there are several general concepts that I would like to be sure that we have clear before going into this process. And I will certainly adhere to the requests that you have just stated. When our logos designed this particular evolution of experience, it decided to use the system of which we spoke, creating, or allowing for, polarization through total free will. How is this different from the Logos that does not do this? I see the Logos creating the possibility of increase in vibration through the densities. Let me ask first, how are the densities provided for and set up by the Logos? If you can answer this.
I am Ra. This shall be the last full query of this working. The psychic attack upon this instrument has, shall we say, left scars which must be tended, in our own opinion, in order to maintain the instrument. Let us observe your second density. Many come more rapidly to third density than others, not because of an innate efficiency of catalysis but because of unusual opportunities for investment. In just such a way those of fourth density may invest third, those of fifth density may invest fourth. When fifth density has been obtained, the process takes upon itself a momentum based upon the characteristics of wisdom when applied to circumstance. The Logos itself, then, in these instances provides investment opportunities, if you wish to use that term. May we inquire if there are any brief queries at this space/time?
77.25 Questioner. Is there anything that we can do after this contact to increase the instrument's comfort as related to the psychic attack? Or is there anything we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or improve the contact in this present situation?
I am Ra. The faculties of healing which each has commenced energizing may be used. The entity may be encouraged to remain motionless for a period. As it will not appreciate this, we suggest the proper discussion. The physical appurtenance called the sensor was just a degree of, this having no deeper meaning. We do ask, for reasons having to do with the physical comfort of the instrument, that you continue in your careful efforts at alignment. You are conscientious. All is well. We leave you, my friends, in the glorious love and light of the one Creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite Creator. I am Ra. Adonai.